शल्यग्राहवती कृपेण वहनी कर्णेन वेलाकुला अश्वत्थामविकर्णघोरमकरा दुर्योधनावर्तिनी सोत्तीर्णा खलु पाण्डवैरणनदी कैवर्तकः केशवः पाराशर्यवचः सरोजममलम् गीतार्थगन्धोत्कटम् नानाख्यानककेसरम् हरिकथा सम्बोधनाबोधितम् लोके सज्जन षट्पदैरहरहः पेपीयमानं मुदा भूयात् भारत पङ्कजं कलिमलप्रध्वंसिन श्रेयसे मूकं करोति वाचालम् पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम् यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगा ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः पश्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः। अथ द्वितीयोऽध्यायः। सञ्जय उवाच तं तथा कृपयाविष्टम् अश्रुपूर्णाकुलेक्षणम् विषीदन्तमिदं वाक्यम् उवाच मधुसूदनः। श्रीभगवानुवाच कुतस्त्वाकश्मलमिदं विषमे समुपस्थितम् अनार्यदुष्टमस्वर्ग्यम् अकीर्तिकरमर्जुन क्लैव्यं मास्मगमः पार्थ नैतत्त्वय्युपपद्यते क्षुद्रं हृदय दौर्बल्यं त्यक्त्वोत्तिष्ठ परन्तप। अर्जुन उवाच कथं भीष्ममहं संख्ये द्रोणं च मधुसूदन इषुभिः प्रतियोत्स्यामि पूजार्हावरिसूदन। कुरु न हत्वा हि महानुभावान् श्रेयो भोक्तुं भैक्षमपीह लोके हत्वार्थकामांस्तु गुरूनिहैव भुञ्जीय भोगान् रुधिरप्रदिग्धान् न चैतद्विद्मः कतरन्नो गरीयः यद्वा जयेम यदि वा नो जयेषु यानेव हत्वा न जिजीविषामः तेव स्थिताः प्रमुखे धार्तराष्ट्राः। कार्पण्येषु tvam dharma sammudhachetaः yashreyasyan nishchitam brudhi tanme Shishyasteham shadimam tvam prapannam Nahi prakashyami mamavanudhyat Yachokamushoshanamindriyanam Avapya bhumavasapatnamritam Rajyam suranam api chadipatyam Sanjaya uvacha evam uktva rishikesham Gudakeshah parandapaha Nayosya iti govindam Uktva tushnim bahuvaha Tamuvacha Hrishikeshaha Prahasanniva Bharata Senayor madhye Vishidantamidam vachaha Shri Bhagavanuvacha Ashochanam vasochasvam Prajnavadamscha bhashase Gatasuna gatasuscha Nanusochanti panditaha Natvevaham jatunasam Natvam neme janadhipaha Nachaiva na bhavishyamaha Sarve vayamatah param Dehinosmin yatha dehe Kaumaram yauvanam jara Tatha dehantara prapti Dhirastatra namuhyate Matra sparshastu kaunteya Shitoshna sukha dukkhadaha Agamavaino nityaha Tan stitikshasva bharata Yam hinavyathayantye Purusham purushashabha Samadukha sukham dhiram Somritatvaya kalpate Nasato vidyate bhavaha Nabhavo vidyate sataha Ubhayorapi drishtontaha Stvanayostvadarshibhihi.
Okay?
Yes.
Mornings I don't see you, so that's why.
Sometimes it's
Yeah.
body, not feeling
Body,
so.
yeah.
It drags on my spirit.
Yes. Yes. It'll be all right.
Online. Online.
On. Yeah. We finished a long bhashya for which one? 11th one, and now the 16th one will have a nice long bhashya without which we cannot even understand it. Om Sahana Bhavatu
सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः
Bhashya. We didn't finish the 14th Bhashya, did we? We finished that. 13th, yeah. 13th. Yeah. 14th we have to do. Yeah. So, matraha abhihi miyante shabdadayah iti श्रोत्रादीनि इंद्रियाणि मात्राणां स्पर्शाः शब्दादिभिः संयोगाः ते शीतोष्ण सुख दुःखदाः शीतम् उष्णं सुखं दुःखं च प्रयच्छन्ति इति. So abhihi miyante shabdadayah. Shabdam here means not words, sound. Yeah. This is how you hear voices. Abhihi miyante, by this are measured various sounds, etc. Sounds means sight, touch, sense organs. So matraha here means the measurers by which all kinds of sensations are measured. Miyante are measured, matraha. And then what are sparshaha? Matranam sparshaha. That which are contacted by the matras are called sparshaha. We have seen this unofficially. We are seeing this officially now. And shabdadibhihi sanyogaha, meaning contact with the same sounds, sights, etc. So that which contact are called matraha. Those things that are contacted are called sparshaha. So sense organs and sense objects, they appear to be tied together, and because they appear to be tied together, they also appear to cause a lot of confusion by coming to the wrong conclusion. That is why here this is an exercise in separation. This whole from 11 onwards, that Mahapratignya that was made. What was the Mahapratignya? Ashocyan anvashochastvam. You are grieving over that which shouldn't be grieved over, and the reasons are being elucidated why. And if you look very carefully, you see all the reasons. First is that from the standpoint of the Atma, nothing dies, nothing is alive. Nothing is born, nothing is dead. So therefore there is no need to grieve. And then from the standpoint of the body itself, the body itself undergoes so many changes. And even though the body undergoes so many changes, the person inhabiting the body is one and the same. So first you take the standpoint, the high road, and say that from the standpoint of the Atma, there is no birth, no death. And even from the body standpoint, which is born again and again and again, still there is that one single being who is not affected by the birth and the death and effortlessly traverses many bodies in as many lifetimes. And then this one says that, then there was one more, I think. No, that was it, yeah. And then this one says that even in a single body, let us look at how these associations, when taken seriously, can transfer into a sensation, how the sensation of heat and cold, sukha, dukkha, they are sensations produced. The sensations are produced how? By the contact of the sense organs with the sense objects. They give rise to certain sensations, internalizing which, what happens? Wrong understanding happens, grief happens. So and that is why even in one single body, we are now looking at, we are honing in further, and then so sanyogaha means those that are contacted. And so what are contacted here? All these things, these matra and sparshas, And when the Shabdadayah, they are contacted, the sense objects come into contact with the sense organs. What happens? They produce two continuums of sensation. Shitam, Ushnam, Sukham, Dukkham, Prayachanti. Prayachanti here means they give, but here we can even say they produce. They give rise to. Give means give rise to. They produce. So these are the things, and there are two continuums. And Adi Shankara has an interesting understanding of these continuums. But however, I think the most obvious, we will look into what he says, but the most obvious difference in these two continuums, one has to do with the physical sensations, Shita and Ushna, hot and cold, signified by these words. And then the other one has to do with the more subtle emotional continuum, mental/emotional condition, signified by the words Sukha and Dukkha, sorrow and happiness. And so this is basically what is being talked about here. So, Shitam, Ushnam, Sukham, Dukkham cha prayachanti iti. Athava sprishyante iti sparshaha Vishayaha Shabdadayah Matrascha Sparshascha Shitoshna Sukha Dukkhadaha. I mean, this Athava is really not, doesn't have that much of a, it's not that different from what was said. Here we went into an elaborate understanding, Matraha Miyante Abhihi. Otherwise, he says you can take it straightforward, sense organs and sense objects. We've already done that. Okay, moving right on. And then, Shitam Kadachit, Dukkham Sukham Kadachit, Dukkham Tatha Ushnamapi, Shitam Kadachit, Sukham Kadachit, Dukkham Tatha Ushnamapi, Aniyata Rupam, So he has a very interesting, thing. And because Shitam means cold. Shitam Kadachit Sukham, Kadachit Dukkham. Tatha Ushnamapi, meaning the cold and hot is subjective. Yeah. Rain is also subjective, Here, for example, in Eugene, in between two raindrops, people start missing the rain and start crying about it also before the second raindrop comes. And in certain other places, they say, oh my God, get us away from this rain. And people who live in the North Pole and places like that, they when it is freezing, they say, oh, it is positively balmy, because they are used to, below degree weather. Below so many degrees all the time, they live below. And so if it is 32, what is that, centigrade, then, Fahrenheit, then they think that it is really hot. You see, it's relative. So the Shita can give kadachit sukham, kadachit dukham, ushnam api tathapi. So the heat also is very subjective. Some people like to keep their house like a sauna. The thermostat is on 82 all the time. Especially, I think, as people grow older, the skin becomes thin, And so everything is just, it's like the house is like a small oven. Everything is just so hot. And then what? And then same thing with the cold, it is relative. So, aniyata rupe te. What? Shitoshne. Aniyata rupe means that they are of the, they are of the uncategorizable, they cannot exactly be categorized. Under what circumstances the heat is going to affect someone, and under what circumstances the cold is going to affect someone, it is uncategorizable. Aniyata rupa, whose rupa is not niyata, fixed. Whereas he says, Sukha dukkhe punaha niyata rupe yataha navyabhicharataha. In other, but sorrow and happiness are universally seen. And even though there is some element of change, what makes a person happy? What makes a person sad? It is subjective, but it is less subjective than heat and cold. This is Adi Shankara's, point here. It is less subjective than heat and cold. Heat and cold, you can never say. The same person suddenly feels hot, suddenly faints, suddenly feels cold, and suddenly, becomes blue. All these things are there. So if you're talking about cold and becoming blue, it is aniyata rupa. But if you're talking about the blues, it is niyata rupa. It is niyata. Niyata means that, certain things are a recipe for sorrow. Like what? Not getting what you want. Recipe for sorrow. Immediately you can go down, And then what? Not, and being separated from what you have. Sorrow. See, this is niyata. It's got a fixed nature, meaning it's categorizable. Even though there is a lot of subjectivity and leeway, especially in the West, what makes everyone sad makes certain people happy. Some crazy things are there, but we are talking of within the normal range of human behavior. There is less of a predictability with regard to heat and cold. The sukha and dukkha, what is going to tick off a person within the psychological order is a little more predictable. Niyata rupa. Niyata rupa is there for which. And then what? Yataha. Because navyabhicharatah, they don't change, they don't change very easily. Navyabhicharatah, Atma also navyabhicharatah, that's not how you have to take. But relatively, they are not subject to easily changing. Ataha, tabhyam prithak shitoshnayoho grahanam. And that's why he says, ataha, therefore, the Shita and Ushna has been separately categorized. This is his classification. His rationale, please understand Adi Shankara's rationale for the classification. Shita and Ushna, when they will please and when they will torment, no one knows. It depends on so many things, the body temperature, etc., etc. If supposing someone has hypothermia, of course, they are tormented by the cold, and it's different from the person who wants to, sit on an ice cube because it is 100 degrees outside, sit on a slab of ice. That's a different thing. So therefore, it is aniyata rupa. You cannot fixedly say. Whereas with Shita, with Sukha and Dukkha, there is a certain categorizability. What ticks off a person according to the psychological order, hence the twofold classification, twofold continuum, he says. This we have already seen. Yasmat, because te matra sparshadayah agamapayinah agamapaya shilaha. Very nice thing, very nice. This ini suffix has the sense of qualification, capacity by the word shila. Shila here means capable of. Like brahmacharin. Brahmachari is actually formed by brahmacharin. Brahmani, charitum, shilam, asya astiti, brahmacharin. So, munihi, another one, manana shilaha. So like this shila means manana shilaha. Manana means meditation here. So capable of meditation. Yogin yatna shilaha. Capable of sadhana. Capable, that shila is that ini suffix has that shila in it. Shila here doesn't mean a person. Shila means the capacity, the capability. So here agama payin, again we have that in. So that means that which has the capacity to come and go. So that is how he takes that, and that is correct grammatically. Agama paya shilaha tasmat agama paya shilaha yesham te agama payinah. So because they are goers and comers. Yeah, they come and go. By the time you wail, winter, winter, snow, snow, go, go, go. Go away, snow. And then what? Summer, hot. Oh, no. Too hot. Oh, thank God it's fall. Oh, but rain. Too much rain. Oh, again winter. Sometimes the dread of that coming, that agama pai that comes, the dread of it approaching already makes one on edge. Yeah, already one is on edge. Old age, old age, old age. And you forget right now you are able to walk without a cane, which is a wonderful thing. One forgets. Oh, old age, oh, death, death, death. Some people just wait for death, just because they can. And so, this is what the agama pai is, because it is coming and going, you don't give it the time of day. And despite the twofold level of classification, one being a little more fixed than the other, in the cause of one rather, meaning the heat and cold, whether it causes sorrow or happiness is anyone's guess, but the sukha dukkha, generally sukha causes happiness and dukkha causes sorrow, we know that. So they have a little more categorizability. Still, both these continuums, they are agama pai. And therefore what? Tasmad anityaha. Anityaha means what? What you don't want, as a Vedantin. Anitya. So, tasmad anityaha. They are all anitya. They are not permanent. And then, so tan, shitoshnadin, titikshasva, prasahasva. So, we saw this. We saw the definition of titiksha. Titiksha, forbearance, endurance. What kind of forbearance? What kind of endurance? The capacity to put up. Yeah, that is titiksha. Because otherwise, generally the human tendency is to manipulate their immediate jagat to their pleasure and to avoid the pain. So when you go into, when you go to a place, immediately what happens, you go, even if you're staying in a hotel room, you just sort of pull the chair this side, plump up the pillows here, and this is where you decide you're going to sit for some reason, because it's maybe by the window and that's where you want to sit. And then you put things according to your preferences, within reason, of course. I mean, you don't completely change the interior decor of the room. You don't bring your own paintings and hang them. Yeah. And, so within reason, that's okay. But the thing is that generally one becomes quite intrusive in the way of trying to make something your own place, your own clothes, your own space, your own books, your own arrangements. So one becomes very pushy about that, overtly or covertly, because the command over the things that I have and the arrangement over here, this is how I manipulate my jagat, my immediate external circumstances, because I feel that my pleasure is dependent upon the extent to which I can have a say over my immediate circumstances. So I'll deploy my will over things that have, what is that called? Over things that are insentient. Yeah, over jada objects like house, room, cupboard, clothes, books, spaces, corners. This is all jada. As though this was not enough. Then I strive to establish control over the Chetana as well. Oh, this room needs a plant. Plant is Chetana. Yes. And the plant doesn't look nice. I have to prune it. I'll make it a bonsai. so that it will be obedient. Yeah. Like a 4-inch orange tree, giving tooth size oranges. Can't even say bite size. Bite involves more than one tooth. Therefore, it's as big as a tooth. Each orange, bonsai. There is a certain control about it. And then, as though that was not enough, then one extends the manipulation to people. Yeah. If only this person listened to me, then my world would be a lot better, won't it now? Yes, it would. Yeah, definitely it would. If only this person did exactly like I wanted, this person becomes the key to my sukha. And if they don't listen to me, I am a dukkhi. This is what the whole thing is. So one spreads oneself out. This is the whole tendency. You start with innocuous things that don't talk back, like chair, table, coffee cup. They don't talk back. If you say, no, this is how you are going to stay, it says, okay, my karma in this life is like this, all right, do whatever you want. It doesn't say anything. Chair also doesn't say, hey, don't keep moving me. Just accept life. It doesn't tell you, it doesn't give you a Vedanta lecture. It's listened to a lot of Vedanta lectures, but it doesn't start talking. Computer also doesn't say anything. Keep it on your lap, keep it on the desk, keep it anything. It doesn't say anything. Plant may rebel covertly. Like you may put it this side, but it will reach out to the sun over there. It has its own way. But the people are not going to stand for this. And in fact, if you're sharing a space, the way you live might be impacting the other person because they don't want to live like that. Or they don't want you to live like that because they are also, as you are trying to operate on them, they are also trying to operate on you. You become an object for them. That's why this matra sparshaha is very interesting. You become an object for them to manipulate, move around and, make you sit and stand at will. And they become an object for you to say roll over and they should roll over, and this is the kind of things that this is what is the push-pull of the jivas trying to coexist in this madness called Jagat, in this madness called samsara. And so here, matra sparshastu kaunteya, here what we are doing is delinking the subtle connection between matraha and then sparshaha. And then the other connection is matra plus sparsha is equal to sukha or dukkha. Those we are cutting those cords that bind. You are putting matra, big deal, full stop. Put a full stop after that, don't put plus sign. Sparsha, yes, there are so many sparshas, so little time. Okay, moving on. And then don't cut out the is equal to sign. Sukha, and in certain cases, if I can't have this exactly in this way that I had thought, then I am a sad individual. Cut that cord, cut that connection. This is what leads to sorrow. And what you exactly want to have, and what you are convinced you cannot live without, that keeps changing. That keeps changing. Because in the beginning, everybody wants something like a child, for example, wants pancakes every day. Matraha, the tongue, sparshaha, pancakes, is equal to sukha for the child. Then the taste changes. And as the person grows older, that sweet taste is not so predominant and not very much appreciated. Because the person starts to appreciate arugula, which is the opposite of arugula is not a Sanskrit word, okay? Yeah. Anyway, So what happened here? So if the matra, which is the tongue, plus sparsha, pancakes, alone is the recipe for happiness, what happened now? Now it has changed. Matra plus tongue, which is the tongue, plus arugula is equal to sukha. It has just shifted. Agamapayi. That's what. Agamapayi. So this verse is teaching us to move away from sensory responses which are spontaneous, which are bodily responses. Some of them are bodily responses and some of them are what? Mental, emotional responses, which spontaneously arise when contacting certain things. But you, the indweller, is not affected by the response. And that's going to be told, in the next mantra, in the next verse, a little more in detail. But for now, you are not. You are the one who is wielding the matras. And matras means what? Sense organs. And then when you can have a say over, to a certain extent, what they contact, when they contact, how they contact. That's why the Alcoholics Anonymous, when you go to Alcoholics Anonymous, they will tell you, don't be around the old friends that used to drink, because that is a problem. Because you are trying to change, you are trying to cut between matra and sparsha here, you are trying to cut the connection. But they are not there yet because they have not let go of their addictive behaviors. And you don't yet have the resolve. So, in their company, what happens? You will revert to the very same equations out of which you are trying to emerge. You will revert back to those addictive behaviors. So, people who are given to addictive behaviors are told, don't hang out in the same groups. Find new people with other, hobbies, so that you don't go back to the same thing again and again. So to a certain extent you can avoid it. Some drastic matra, sparsha, addictive behaviors you can avoid. But what about the day-to-day ones? What if each time you see somebody you are triggered, and each time the salt and pepper are not in the right place, you are triggered. You cannot avoid, correct? Everything has to be exactly in the same place all the time. It's not possible. So therefore, each time if you are triggered, you cannot say, I will stop looking at the salt and pepper completely, I'll put it away so that I don't have to look at it. Not possible, because you use it every day. So here, it's not about avoiding contact, because that is like a Vishwamitra type meditation. And we all know what happened to him. You know what happened to him? What happened to Vishwamitra? No. Vishwamitra. Shanku is another person. Yeah, what happened to Vishwamitra? Vishwamitra, there is a very good analogy here. A sage, he was actually a kshatriya, a warrior. And he went to Vasishtha's ashrama. After lunch, he went to the ashram. After lunch, if you go, what is there? No lunch. Correct? But still he was sumptuously fed. And all kinds of foods appeared. How? Because Vasishtha had a cow. Its claim to fame of this cow is that you come in front of it and say, hey cow, please give me some food for 200 soldiers. It would make hot food immediately. Yeah. Without trying to knead the chapatis with its hooves, it would miraculously, the whole thing, a 5-course lunch appeared. So Vasishtha said, it is nothing. It's just Kamadhenu did it. And then this man had the temerity to ask for the cow. Give me the cow. You don't do that. If you're a guest in someone's ashram and somebody has a magic cow, you appreciate it, you give it a pat and you go home. Yeah, but this fellow said, give me the cow. matra sparsha contact. He thought the cow will make him happy. And Vasishtha said, you can take the cow, but the cow is not going to do anything. The cow can only be commandeered by one who is free of desire. This is actually an allegory for life. You get what you want when you don't want it. And when you stop wanting it, you get it. Oh, what's the point? That's the point. What you want, you stop wanting. If you really want it, stop wanting it immediately. Oh, but then what's the point of getting it? I told you, that's the point. That's what it is. So, he said, it can only be commanded by someone who has vairagya, where this matra, sparsha, contact and these sense organs are not always drooling over this one, then only the cow listens. The cow is not going to listen to you because you are an embodiment, you are a desire murti, you are an embodiment of all kinds of desires. This cow is just going to graze in front of you. It's not going to fulfill any wishes. It will be like any other cow. He says, I'm going to qualify for the cow. All right, Vasishtha said. If you can make it listen to you, then you can take it. But first you have to become free of desire. Then he goes and does what is called ghora tapas. Ghora means terrifying tapas. Tapas is not Spanish snacks. Tapas here means austerities. He stood on one leg, then he stood on another leg, and then he did all kinds of things, which made everyone unhappy. Indra started to get nervous because he thought he was going to be displaced. All these things happened. What did he do in this tapas? He avoided contact with everything he likes, thinking that that was the way to vairagya. It is not, you can avoid the contact, all right. I will not see this, I will not do that. But the contact, but the value for that is still here. In fact, it's worse because when you do see something, after a long time, you just fall even further because, that value for it has not been reconciled or done away with. And therefore what? Therefore we have a nice, analogy here. Is that, and then what happened? Menaka came. A heavenly nymph was sent down. Because, like I said, Indra started to get nervous. And she said, yoo-hoo, boy. Let's have a date. I think, would you like to see me dance? He said, no, go away. I don't even want to look at you. Just one look won't hurt. You've been meditating for so long. Come on. This is how I do Bharatanatyam. Ta thai. Look at me. And he said, all right, just one number. Yeah, no problem. Just one dance. And then what? Then he was dancing. Even long after she stopped dancing, he was dancing with desire for her. Then he said, let's get married. Let's have children. Let's have a family. And what happened to wanting to be the commanding the Kamadhenu? Forgot. Kama took over the Dhenu part. Dhenu means cow. And actually that was not his objective, to be fair to him. He wanted to, because the whole point is, how do you know that you can commandeer the cow? You can command the cow. Vasishtha says you have to be free of desire. How do you know you are free of desire? Because you get the title of Maharshi. He says, I want to be Maharshi. That's what he wanted. He could care less about the cow ultimately when he found out there was something greater than the cow, which is the status of Maharshi. So he was striving to avoid all desires and therefore thinking that all the objects of desire, if I just close my eyes, they will go away. They don't go away because the objects of desire don't reside outside. Where do they reside? Inside. And so the point is not to avoid contact. That is not what is being talked about in this mantra. The point is to what? Cut the connection between the contacted object and the contacting sense organs, between that and the resultant state of mind or state of the body. That is where you have to cut that, cauterize those connections, because those connections are misfiring, wrong connections. So therefore he says, agama payinah, they keep changing, aniyata rupe, sukha dukkhe, all these things. Therefore, tasmad anityaha atah titikshasva. So there is a grace in putting up with discomfort. There is a certain grace. This is not some kind of a glorification of suffering, please understand. The Hindu tradition is not some kind of a sacrificial, goat type of thing, where you have to keep suffering, and because of the suffering, and in fact we don't have anything to do with suffering. Titiksha is not suffering. Titiksha is cheerfully overriding the things that have the capacity to affect you but are impermanent. So biding your time till that condition goes, because what is the use of complaining? Too hot, 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 too hot. Oh, too cold, too cold, too cold, too cold. What's the point in complaining? So you just put up with it to the extent you can, and so there is a certain mental strength, and the putting up itself gives this titiksha, which we described yesterday, gives a present. And what is that present it gives? It allows you to cut the wrong connections between matra, sparsha, sukha or dukkha. Between agama payina, agama payi, and those which are agama payinah, and then that which is, sukha and dukkha. How can that which comes and goes dictate your moods? It's not possible, but then we see that it is possible in the world and it does happen. That's because of the wrong firing between the sense organs, sense objects, and the results they appear to produce, and my identification with those results. So the titiksha means a conscious disidentification with the physical and mental states. Now, the thing is that the physical and mental states, they also, they are not permanent. They are the objects of my observation. I can be the sakshi, the witness of all of them. That is what is the whole idea. That I contact this deep I, not the surface level I that is identified with the sense organs, sense objects. But I contact that I over which rides this ahankara, which is called pratyagatma, the innermost I. And what is that innermost I? This is all pratyagatma, pratyagatma siddhi. That there is something that is unaffected by this. And the sooner I take refuge in that, then these things will not affect, or I have the strength to do this, to observe this and not be afflicted by this. So in every being there is a dual reality. One is the shadow, I, and the other is the I that is casting the shadow. So the shadow I masquerades as the real one. The one that is going about manipulating and milking the world to increase pleasure, like we said yesterday, and decrease pain. That is the shadow I. In the process, it is also getting afflicted by everything that comes and goes. So the shadow, who gives any thought to the shadow? The shadow has no existence apart from the light that is actually casting it. So here we have to identify with that which is casting the shadow, not the shadow itself. And this is a very quick way, titiksha is a very quick way of identifying with the I and not with the shadow which masquerades as the I. Because the shadow is a very crafty thing. It's an imposter. It masquerades and it takes over and it eclipses, as it were, the I. And so therefore I don't give it the time of day, and therefore I tell myself that through this titiksha means the endurance, through being able to override and transcend the fleeting sensations, and to know that all sensations, whether they are mental or physical, are fleeting. What if they fleet after 3 days? Still they are fleeting. They are still fleeting. So you have to be able to have that strength, muster that strength that comes from identifying with the witness, not the one that is always falling down and is crying, the wailing one, but the unaffected, unafflicted one. That is where you get the strength to not succumb to these sensations. But why should I not succumb to the sensation? Because you are a Vedantin. You are studying the Gita. And you want moksha. At least we assume you want moksha. We assume that that's what is wanted because you are studying the Gita. But then what's the connection with moksha and titiksha? Both end in ksha. One is the qualification, the other is the result. So titiksha is an important qualification for moksha. That's why they both end in ksha. So this is prasahasva. Sahasva means sahate, to bear with. Pra means definitely bear with it. Teshu harsham vishadam cha ma karshihi ityartha. Titiksha means what? Teshu, with regard to them, Vishaya Saptami, with regard to them, in reference to them, don't be, madly happy or sadly mad. Harsham, Vishadam. Don't give them the time of day. Don't let them bring you down or then send you to the ceiling with elation. Practice equanimity with reference to them. Am I mad? Why should I do that? Shitoshnadin sahatah, for the one who is having titiksha, sahatah, for the one who is having this titiksha, kim syat, what will happen? What will I get as a result of this? Listen. Yam hi na vyathayantyete,
Yam hi na vyathayantyete,
Purusham Purusharshabha,
Purusham Purusharshabha,
Samadukha Sukham Dhiram,
Samadukha Sukham Dhiram,
Somritatvaya Kalpate,
Somritatvaya Kalpate.
Yam Purusham, Yam Dhiram Purusham, Na Vyathayanti Ete, He Purusharshabha, Yam Dhiram Purusham Samadukha Sukham Purusham Na Vyathayanti Ete Sukha Dukhe Chitoshne Saha Amritatvaya Kalpate He Purusharshabha. Meaning, everything that ends in like yam, purusham, dhiram, sukha sama sukha dukkham. This is all the second case. It's qualifying this person. Yam means the one who, object case. Yam he because, yasmat. Yam he na vyathayanti. Vyatha means torment. Vyathayati, vyathayanti means unto whom ete, these. What these? These means which are we talking about? Sukha, Dukha, Shita, Ushna. So, yam na vyathayanti. Vyathayanti, yam. Yam is object. So, now we are looking for the subject. The subject will be Shitoshna Sukha Dukhaha. Shitoshna Sukha Dukhaha. Yam na vyathayanti. Ete means these states of mind or these states of the body, both those continuums are included. Ete yam, for whom? The one unto whom, one who is not afflicted by that, the one who these states do not afflict. Who is that one? Purusham, the person. We are not talking of a dog, a meditative titikshu dog, we are not talking of that. There is no such thing, So we are talking of a human being. And who is this human being? This human being is qualified by two more epithets. Samadukha Sukhaha. Tam. Samadukha Sukham. And then what else? Dhiram. And Dhira means wise person, not courageous. Wise person. Dhihi rati dadati iti dhiraha. So wise that other people come to this person for advice and the person gives advice. Dhihi buddhi rati gives. The ones who gives away the buddhi gives gives advice. Is capable of giving advice. Dhira. A wise person. And so who is Samadukha, Samadukhaha, Samasukhaha. Sama is one, same. Who has equanimity with reference to dukkha and sukha. With reference to sukha doesn't hit the ceiling. Therefore, with reference to dukkha doesn't have a long way to come down, especially if you have a vaulted ceiling. You hit the ceiling, as they say in this country, and then what? You come crashing down. So the one who has equanimity doesn't mean you have to have a stoic face. That's not the idea. So the one who is resilient in the face of, in the face of sorrow, and it can be jubilant, but not to the extent of losing oneself and totally attributing the circumstances for one's happiness. So therefore, this samadukha sukham, this person, samadukha sukha is not a condition of the mind, but it's describing the person. So, same sukha dukhe yasya tam sama sukha dukham. That's how to, I think, resolve this. We'll see what Adi Shankara says. Same sukha dukhe yasya, something like that. So, so yam hina vyathayanti, for whom these things do not afflict. Saha tam dhiram, that dhira. Who is this person? Saha, that person. Amritatvaya kalpate. Kalpate means is crafted. Especially crafted. For what? This knowledge of the self as immortal. Fit. Kalpate here means equipped, fit, deserving of the knowledge of immortality. So in other words, the matra, sparsha and the sukha dukkha, shita, ushna, etc. management is leading to discovery of oneself as a titikshu, which is the same as mumukshu. Yeah. Titikshu is the one who is endowed with titiksha. What is titiksha? The capacity to align one's awareness align one's awareness not with the bodily and mental sensations arising out of contact with things, in the Jagat, but align one's awareness with that witness which is aware of everything, and then ride through the difficult times and coast through the easy times without much change in oneself, without letting the outer circumstances dictate one's situation, is a titikshu. And that person is rewarded by becoming fit for moksha. This is the whole idea. So, let us see, Purusharshabha. Purushanam Rishabha. Rishabha means bull. Like in a herd of cattle, the bull stands out. It has 2 humps and it has big horns, and it's a formidable presence. It stands out among the herd of cattle. Similarly, Arjuna stands out as an uncommonly strong, uncommonly intelligent. Like if you put all the people and then stick Arjuna in the middle, he is not going to blend in. That's why it was hard to disguise him. For that 1 year of that Adhyatma Vidya, him and Bhima, they were very difficult to disguise. Bhima is 7 foot. Where are you going to put him? In the kitchen, in the basement, in the kitchen, never come out. Keep cooking. And where is Arjuna going to be hidden? In the women's quarters. Because he had incurred a curse. We talked about that. 1 year to spend as a androgynous person. And so he taught, Kathak to dance. Because it's North India. So he taught Kathak to the princesses and the royal queens. He taught dance and music. That's why, because in the women's quarters means nobody goes there, unless they know something. It's a protected place. That's how you cannot hide him. That's why he's Purusharshabha. And here there is a little wake-up call for him. Oh, you bull amongst men. This is how the badly translated. But really speaking, the one who has an uncommon among all men. The one who stands out among all men. Meaning what? You may stand out in terms of your brilliance, in terms of your stature, in terms of your presence. But where is your Sahishnuta? Where is your Titiksha? So you may be a bull, but then you will cry mummy and go away. If some small little, scratch comes with a blade of grass, you will be looking for ointment and you will be wanting to just tend to this big, you think it's a gaping wound when it's just a mere scratch. Are you that, or are you really going to live up to your title? It's a wake-up call. Come on, you already have earned this title, and occupy this title by seeing the truth of what is being said. Occupy this title. So, hey Purusharshabha, you should know all the hard work that you have done to stand out among people. You should know the importance of this. And what is the importance of this? Is that the person who is a Sahishnu, Sahishnuhu, Ishnuch is the suffix. Sahishnuhu, Ishnuch means the one who Brajishnuhu, like this, the one who embodies the quality of that which goes before. Brajishnuhu, Braj shines. Yeah. Braj shines. So Brajishnuhu means what? One who shines. It's not an agent of shining, but here the one who has embodied the very qualities of that which is described in the substantive. So this is the particular suffix. So Sahishnuhu, the one who has Sahana Shilata, Saha, to bear. Sahishnuhu, the one who is gifted with endurance. Why am I looking at this word? Because Adi Shankara uses it, that's why. So, Sahishnuhu, the one who is equipped, who is an embodiment of endurance. So the one who embodies endurance, Sahishnuhu. The one who embodies brilliance, Brajishnuhu. Like this. So there are certain words. And then, so here, this is what it is. Purusharshabha, vocative. Hey Purusharshabha, oh you know, the one who is unique among all people. You know. And then what? The one, let me tell you a secret, he says. The secret to this gaining and internalizing this knowledge is that the one who is not tormented by these opposites, whether we are talking of the physical states or the mental emotional states, and the one who has equanimity in the face of these changing states, the one who is wise with reference to contacting and staying with the witness, Saha, that person alone is fit for Amritatvam, the knowledge of immortality. Immortality is not with regard to the body. This is something to be understood. Don't say, I am doing lot of Sahishnuta, still the body is aging, it is alarming me. Yeah. The body will undergo so many changes. The mind will also undergo so many changes. You have to be, stationary, because you are the only thing that is stationary. And I am not talking of writing paper. Not that kind of stationary. Yes. From stha to stay. That's what it is. Station, stha. The shan is a particular English pratyaya. So, the shan is a abstract noun, English pratyaya, English suffix. So, stha to stay, I think it's actually derived from that. So here, that which stays, which doesn't go anywhere, contact that, and then immediately your happiness quotient goes up. Really, contact that. Without even those, what are those things that now they have devised a way. What happens when you eat chocolate? You get happy because there is something released. What is that thing that is released? Endorphins, correct. And even when you take a walk, these endorphins are released. So they say, eat chocolate and take a walk every day. Very nice, so that you are happy. That is just a manufactured body level, mind level, some, brain level thing. We are not talking of that. So even if you don't eat chocolate, no, you can eat chocolate. But even if you don't ever walk, or eat chocolate, you can still be happy. How? Well, contact the witness. How to contact the witness? By bringing out the Sahishnu in you. Sahishnu, the embodiment of Sahishnuta, the one who is a titikshu, titiksha, forbearance, titikshu, the one who has the capacity for forbearance. The body will keep undergoing changes. You can't follow the body. The mind, you should not follow the mind. You can, but you mustn't. It is very difficult. Here we can really say must not, because this is a recipe for disaster. So that is why he says, Tan titikshasva. Don't follow. He gives the advice. Don't follow. Follow that which is unchanging, and already the happiness quotient minus the endorphins still goes up without even needing the endorphins. And then, so therefore he says, Sama sukha dukkha saha amritatvaya kalpate. And then, this is an answer to the question, unasked question. He's reading Arjuna's mind, and he tells Arjuna, you only have a chance in the 56th verse, or they're about to ask the question. Till then, I will just read your mind and give the answers. Just listen. So, Shitoshnadin sahataha kim syat. So what? Because this human mind will not do anything without having a gain. So what is it that I gain if I look at all these things with objectivity? The happiness, the sorrow, the states of body, states of mind, if I keep witnessing, what do I gain? You become fit for this knowledge. This knowledge is a cakewalk. You know, this is how it is, because you will not have any trouble understanding what is being taught, and especially, this is a good stopping point, because especially the next verse really needs a lot of understanding. So that's why he sneaks in this one. The translation in many books of the next verse is, that which has no existence has no existence. That which exists has existence. That which does not exist has no existence. And then the one who knows the difference between existence and non-existence is the Dhira, is the wise one. So what? Time to close. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya
Purnamevavashishyate. Om
Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Tomorrow we'll see this Bhashya and then enter into this big one with a 3-page, I think. Yeah, 3-page Bhashya. Very involved, but very good. Very good. And then after that we have a nice ride. More or less okay. They get a little longer. After that we coast along till 21. 21 is again 5 pages, 21. Yeah. Then a little more coasting. Like that we will keep going.
Some people have written Swamini Bhakti is saying Namaskaram, Arjuna is saying Namaste, Jagadisha is saying, in the equation the plus happens naturally as the sense organs do not contact sense objects, but we need to remove or invalidate only the equal sign.
Well, the plus, there is, like I said, there is a little leeway about the contact. Like I said, if one is an alcoholic, one has to avoid those kinds of traps where one will feel like alcoholic or any kind of addictive behaviors. People who have issues with food should not keep certain things at home, cookies, etc. That means what? You will just inhale them. So this is where you have to also cut the contact to rise above if one is weak. So it is not that, but at the same time you are not being told to avoid contact. That's why we spoke of both the situations. That's why I told you the story of Vishwamitra, who tried to go by avoiding all contact. What happened? Menaka happened. That's what happened. And similarly, on the other side of the continuum is someone who says, oh, contacts cannot be avoided and I'll keep falling into the pitfall. We do have a certain say, and depending on one's issues, certain things the contact must be curtailed, certain things must be avoided, certain things cannot be avoided, and the titikshu has to be strengthened. But until the titikshu does a few push-ups and strengthens the muscles, certain contact has to be avoided. So it is there, yeah. Like, if you're interested in Vedanta, but then if you keep going to the mall, what will happen? M-A-U-L, that's the spelling of mall. So, what will happen? Nothing will happen, correct? So therefore, the contact, also there is the plus sign, also you have to make that a flexible plus sign. Sometimes it's a cut off completely. Certain things you have to leave behind. That's why it's called Vairagya, with reference to sense objects. Certain things you can have, but in small measure, depending on, we cannot make a formula of this because everybody has different triggers. So depending on the favorite trigger, the plus sign is also something to be interrogated. Yes, because it's not just a natural contact, because you have free will. Yeah. That's why we illustrated both the continuums. Okay?
Swamiji, just to share, I think Swamiji would appreciate. Swamiji said it's not a rock solid response, it's more of a tofu response.
Tofu response, yes, exactly. That's right, flexible. Yeah. Beautiful.